I'm Lim, CTO of MetaLearner. Today, I want to start with a slightly different view of uncertainty. In supply chain, uncertainty is not the problem. Everyone has uncertainty. Your competitors have uncertainty. Your suppliers have uncertainty. Even your customer create the uncertainty that you see. The real problem is what happens after uncertainty shows up. Some company freeze. Some company goes back to Excel planning. Some company adds small buffer. Some companies call for emergency meeting. The companies that win are the companies that can recompute the right decision faster. That's why we say uncertainty is the opportunity. Because when the market becomes more volatile, better decisions become more valuable. MetaLearner is built for that moment. When the forecast changes, the supplier sleeps, the customer priority shifts, the business knows exactly what to do next. Now, the most important distinction in this presentation is that forecasting and decision making are not the same thing. Forecasting tells you what may happen. Decision intelligence tells you what to do next. That difference matters because forecast is not where the business outcome happens. The outcome happens at the decision layer after the forecast. How much do we buy? Where do we place inventory? How much risk do we accept? A dashboard can show the business. A forecast can predict the demand. But the business still needs a decision. And in supply chain, that decision is where your cash, service level, margin, and customer trust are won or lost. With all the investment in ERP, dashboard, data platforms, and AI, why are so many of these decisions still made manually? This is the gap we see in the market. Enterprise has spent years building system of record, dashboard, data platforms, and now AI pilot. But in many supply chain, the actual planning decision is still done the old way. Export from ERP, clean it in Excel, adjust manually, check with the sales team, check with the operation team, send the file around, then push the decision back to the business. That is not because planners are behind. It is because enterprise AI have not touched the decision layer. It has reached reporting, it has reached chat, it has reached dashboard, but it has not fully reached the decision layer. That is why so many AI projects look impressive in the demos, but struggle to change the operating outcome. The business does not need another screen telling them inventory is wrong. They need a system that helps them decide what to do before the wrong inventory becomes stock out, excess stock, or missed revenue. Once AI reaches the decision layer, uncertainty stops being a risk. It becomes a lever. That is why uncertainty matters financially. A small error in planning rarely stays small. Overestimate demand and cash get trapped in inventory. Underestimate demand and customers get shorted. Reacting too slowly and the whole organization goes into firefighting mode. That is why improving decisions under uncertainty is so powerful. It does not only improve one metric. It affects inventory, service levels, margin, cash flow, and planning speed all together. That is why we don't see this just as a forecasting tool. We see this as a business performance lever. For customers, the value is simple. Less excess inventory, fewer stock out, faster replanning, better service level, and more capital available for the business. Every enterprise already has system of record. That's your SAP, ERP, CRM, and spreadsheets. They are important because they store what happened, what was ordered, what was shipped, what is on hand, and what was invoiced. But supply chain team also needs to answer a different class of questions. What is likely to happen next? What risks are we taking? What decisions should we make now? But this is where MetaLearner fits. We do not replace the system of record. We sit above it as a decision intelligence layer. The goal is to turn existing enterprise data into better operating decisions. Supply chain is not run by data alone. We all know that. It is run by people with experience. In many companies, the real supply chain model lives in the head of planners and managers who have worked in the business for decades. They know which customer cannot be shorted. They know which supplier lead time always late. They know which product spikes before a project starts. They know which warehouse is always constrained. They know when a forecast looks correct mathematically, but wrong operationally. Most systems do not capture that. They record the override, but they lose the reason. That's a huge missed opportunity. MetaLearner is not designed to remove the planner's judgment. It is designed to capture, structure, and amplify it. When a planner adjusts a forecast, that should become the business context. When they override a recommendation, the system should learn why. That is how human expertise becomes a system-level advantage. To put in perspective, a normal system says inventory is low. Useful, but incomplete. A forecasting system says the demand next week is around 200 to 500 units. Better, but still not that useful. A decision intelligence system says inventory is low because demand is accelerating, supplier lead time is slipping, and this customer cannot be shorted. If we do nothing, service level will fall next week. Recommended action is to reorder 350 units now and reallocate stock now. That is the difference. The system is no longer just recording data. It is connecting context, uncertainty, constraints, and actions together. That is what a world model for supply chain looks like. At the very simplest level, MetaLearner turns existing data into better inventory decisions. We start with what the customer already had: Excel, database, ERP, external signals. Then we standardize, clean, and engineer features. From then, we run it through our highly accurate forecasting stack. But the key point is this: we do not stop at just the forecast. We convert the forecast into inventory decisions. Right SKU, right warehouse, right quantity. A forecast sitting in the dashboard is useful. A forecast converted to inventory decision is valuable. That is where the business impact shows up. MetaLearner is not one model trying to do everything. It is a team of agents working across the planning workflow. The data layer connects to ERP, SAP, databases, and external signal. The intelligence layer runs across forecasting and scenario simulation. The decision layer returns inventory decision, reports, recommendation, and explanations that planner can actually use. This matters because different people in the room care about different things. Supply chain leader care about the decision. The CIO and the IT planning team cares about how this fits into their existing stack. The planners care about whether they can trust the recommendation. So the architecture has to support all three. It cannot be a black box. It must be modular, explainable, and connected to the workflow. This is where the system starts to compound. A traditional forecasting system runs a model and stops. MetaLearner runs a loop. It connects the data. It builds the business context. It forecasts demand with uncertainty. It simulates plausible futures. It optimizes inventory decision. It explains the recommendation. It captures planner feedback and improves the next cycle. The important part is the feedback. Every forecast, recommendation, override, and outcome becomes a learning signal. Over time, the signal does not only learn the data, it grows with it. That is powerful because supply chain is not static. The company learns every week. The system should learn with it. Finished good inventory is where the pain is the easiest to see. Every company wants the same thing: right product in the right place at the right time. But in practice, that is hard. Some products are at risk of stock out. Some are overstocked. Some warehouse needs more inventory. Some locations need rebalancing. Some customers need priority. The common response is to add more buffer. But more inventory does not always mean better protection. Sometimes it just means that the capital is trapped in inventory. MetaLearner helps answer a better question: how much do we hold and where without blindly adding stock? That is how finished good inventory becomes a strong first use case. The pain is visible. The data usually exists. The ROI can be measured. And this is where the planning systems are really tested. When nothing changes, planning looks manageable, but real world does not behave that way. Demand spikes, supplier delays, tariff changes, compute ports get congested. When reality changes, the plan has to recompute. In many companies, that response is still manual. That's your Excel file, email, emergency meetings, and firefighting. MetaLearner turns them into structured replanning. Detect the change, refresh the forecast, simulate scenario, optimize the action, explain the recommendation, and capture planner's feedback. The shift is simple: less firefighting, more structured decision making. The goal of the system is to show movement from forecast to decision. A planner should be able to answer 6 questions quickly. What is the demand likely to be? Where is the risk? What action is recommended? Why was it recommended? What happens under different scenarios? What feedback should the system learn from? That is the product experience we are delivering. AI should not make planning more complicated. It should make the decision clearer. Now let me quickly show you through a demo of how the process would look like. Upon logging in, this is the home page that the user sees. They can see all of the items that they need to pay attention to today. And of course, you could always ask the AI agent, oh, why do I need to pay attention to this alert? And the AI agent will be able to tell you, oh, you have to pay attention to this alert because of factors A, B, and C. And of course, you can always take the action and you can see all of the inventory are located here. But before we go to the inventory, let us quickly go back to the home page of forecast. So this is the home page of the forecast. At the home page, we show you exactly how your forecasting system came. You can see the historical forecast and what the actual value is. And we also give you a future confidence interval of how your future forecast would potentially look like. And on top of that, we make everything explainable. You will be able to understand why we are providing you that forecast. We take all of the external drivers and we categorize it into different category for you. So you can see how it's affected by trend, seasonality, momentum, external feature, so on and so forth. And under the monitoring panel, right? Remember just now I talked about planner's feedback. This is where it really, really shines. So in this monitoring panel, you're able to see which planner is overriding the system recommended forecast. You're able to see who is adding value, who is destroying value. From there, what should we do about the planner? Why are they recommending this decision? Is it based on something that lives in the planner? Hey, can we capture that and put it into our system? So from there, we can positively reward planners who are adding value to the system while rectifying planners who are destroying value from the system. And under demand shaping, so this is how the process of a planner looks at the demand forecast. They can select the month that they are interested in, click in to see how the specific forecast of that product. And if they want to modify, they can actually just click at the business context, record the reason why. So for here, this is a promotional context. So they have a promotion coming up. They think it's going to be a spike in decay. So they just apply it and say context. So with that, that's how they override the context. They provide the reason why they are overriding the system recommendation, and we know why they are providing the system they are overriding the system recommendation. Through this, we are able to capture the promotional cycle. We are able to capture what the planner is thinking and make it structured so that the work model of the business supply chain lives in the system instead of only in the planner's head. And of course, when you have forecast, you have the inventory as well. Moving on to the inventory homepage, you can see all of your inventory health. How much inventory stock you have, what is the service level you have attained, and how which items are overstocked, understocked, or just in the right spot. So with this, it gives the planner a lot more ease to understand the data behind their inventory. And of course, if they want to override the same process, they can double click and just override. And that is how the whole system behaves now. And if you want to understand why the system provides recommendation of such inventory, right? You can just click the ask why. And the AI will be able to tell you the exact reason, oh, why are we recommending this override? Why are we recommending this inventory allocation? So it makes the whole process a lot more transparent, a lot more easy to understand. And that is a quick nutshell of what the MetaLearner product experience looks like. Right. So the reason supply chain is such a strong AI use case is that the value is measurable. The number shows up in the business. Forecast accuracy improved, stock out reduced, excess inventory becomes visible. Across real deployments, we have seen over 20% accuracy rate, over 1.2 million in annual value identified per mid-market engagement, and kickoff to live forecast in under 6 weeks. The customer time required is usually manageable. around 8 to 12 hours from the business and the data owners. Enterprise AI adoption improves when the business can see value quickly. This is a case study of a customers in the food and beverage industry in Latin America. The customer already has SAP S/4HANA. Like other customers with SAP, they were exporting data into Excel and running monthly aggregate forecasts across a complex food and beverage distribution network. Data is usually all over the place, and forecast refreshes are slow. MetaLearner layered a hyper-granular forecasting engine over the existing stack. Weekly forecasts, SKU and warehouse level, zero replacement of existing system. The result was about 26% lower forecast error and an estimated annual value of $3.5 million. The important lesson is not only that the forecast improved, but also granular forecasting creates the foundation of better inventory decisions. Forecasting alone is not enough. The hard problem was not the forecast, it was the decision after the forecast. For another customer, in a 52 weeks backtest across 17 warehouse and 63 items, MetaLearner's robust optimization model achieved a close to 95% service level with $4.5 million in average inventory. The forecast plus buffer baseline that the customer was using delivered a lower service level while requiring around 40% more in inventory. That is the difference between naive protection and risk-based protection. A buffer spread across everywhere. A robust optimization allocates protection where it actually matters. Most companies respond to uncertainty by adding buffer. That is understandable, but it is very expensive. Forecast plus buffer is easy to deploy, but it often overprotects way too many SKUs. It ignores constraint, it increases inventory, but it still misses service target. Robust optimization takes a different approach. It accepts that the future is uncertain. Then it asks, what decision performs well across many plausible futures? That is the practical breakthrough. We're not pretending that the forecast is always going to be right. We're helping the business to make decisions that still works when the forecast is wrong. Forecasting predicts the range. Optimization decides within that range. Enterprise AI cannot only work in a demo, it has to live the customer's requirements for data control, security, governance, performance, and deployment. Some customers want on-premise deployment, where the data stays inside their perimeter. Some prefer hybrid. Some start with an on-premise or cloud-based POC, because it is the faster path to value. Then transit to a full-scale deployment production. This is why GPU native matters. Forecasting, simulation, optimization, and repeated planning are natural parallel workloads. With Lenovo ThinkSystem and NVIDIA's accelerated computing, this becomes a production-grade deployment path, not just a shiny demo. For the CIOs and IT team leader here, MetaLearner is designed to sit above your existing system, ERP, WMS, Excel, databases, and external signals. We do not ask customers to replace the system of record. We add a decision intelligence above it. That matters for adoption. The data environment can remain customer controlled. Access can be role-based. Forecast and recommendation can have audit trails. Decision outputs are explainable. Deployment can follow customers' policy. The principle is simple. Do not replace what you already have. Make it more intelligent. We always recommend starting small. Week 0 to 1, scope. Pick the business unit, category, SKUs, location, and success metrics. Week 1 to 2, data. Connect ERP exports, Excel, inventory, orders, lead time, and relevant signal. Week 2 to 4, forecast. Build SKU location forecast and uncertainty ranges. Week 4 to 5, optimize. Run allocation, replenishment, or inventory optimization. Week 5 to 6, keep value review. Compare against the baseline and quantify the impact. This keeps the first step practical. Enough to prove value, not so large that the organization gets stuck before learning anything. Inventory is not just an operational metric. Inventory is cash. If a customer carries $10 million in finished good inventory, and better decision release 50% of the working capital. There is 1.5 million of capital free. But that is only one part of the value. There is also stock out reduction, less obsolete inventory, planner productivity, and faster shock response. That is why decision intelligence can be a CFO level conversation, not just as a supply chain tool. The system improves how the business allocates inventory, capital, and attention under uncertainty. Hybrid AI needs real workload. Infrastructure becomes strategic when it is attached to measurable business outcomes. Lenovo provides the foundation, enterprise infrastructure, on-premise deployment, NVIDIA accelerated computing, customer data control, and a production-grade AI foundation. MetaLearner provides the workload, forecasting, scenario simulation, robust optimization, AI agents, and planner workflow with measurable ROI. Together, this becomes a concrete offering. Not AI in general, not infrastructure searching for a use case. A production-grade supply chain AI workload running on Lenovo and NVIDIA infrastructure that gives customers a business reason to deploy AI. The best customer is not simply a company that wants AI. The best customer has a clear operating pain. MetaLearner fits best when the business has inventory complexity, which involves many SKUs, multiple locations. Clear pains such as stockouts or an excess inventory and pressure to reduce working capital. Ready for the future improvement when current forecast workflows is still happening in Excel or native ERP. Planners operating without data science team support, and decision is still largely manual. The strongest industry are manufacturing, retail and CPG, food and beverage, automotive, logistics, and distribution. The key signal is this. If the company already feels the cost of uncertainty, but planning workflow has not caught up, this is where MetaLearner can help you. Well, if you ask me, I think the best time to start is now. There are 3 good starting points: finished good inventory, short response, and forecasting and scenario planning. To get started, we just need to identify one workflow, one business owner, one data owner, one KPI, and a 6-week POC. That gives us a clean way to prove value using customers' own data. If it works, we scale. If it does not, we learn quickly. That is how enterprise AI should be deployed. Practical, measurable, and tied to the business. Well, let me close out by saying that uncertainty is not going away. The companies that win will not be the one with perfect forecasts. They will be the one that makes better decisions when the forecast is wrong. That is why MetaLearner is building a decision intelligence layer for supply chain, for enterprise supply chain. It works with existing system. It respects the planner judgment. It runs on production-grade Lenovo and NVIDIA infrastructure. And it creates measurable business outcomes. Forecasting tells you what may happen in the future. Decision intelligence tells you what to do next. Alright, that was a pretty lengthy presentation. Any of you have any questions? If you guys have any questions, please do feel free to raise up your hand or just connect with us after the presentation during the networking lunch. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lim. And also for pointing out that uncertainty isn't going to go away, but the fact that the best and most resilient businesses, they thrive and find opportunities during time of uncertainty.